Hello there, welcome to part 3 of hopefully a 4-part series on your review. So I kind of got cut off, but let's talk about why the halogens are highly reactive. So halogens are highly reactive because if we look at some of the halogens, like their valence shells, like lithium for example, has 2 electrons and then that's full, and so not lithium, sorry, lithium isn't a halogen, it's an alkali earth. Something like chlorine, where we've got 2 and then their outer valence is just missing 1 electron to be full. And so what that means then is it likes to react with substances to fill its valence. And I talked about their common uses already. They're great disinfectants, and so they can sanitize things due to their reactivity. So they can react with germs by bonding with substances on the germ to fill their outer valence shell. Speaking of the periodic table, Dmitri Mendeleev is considered almost the father of the periodic table. He arranged the elements into a very ordered system based on the number of protons. So there's an order and an arrangement to the periodic table based on the number of protons. Rows in the periodic table versus columns. Columns we often will call families or groups, and rows are called periods. So families or groups. What does the atomic number represent on the periodic table? For example, lithium is number 3 on the periodic table, and that stands for the number of protons. Now in the case of atoms, it also is the number of electrons. But when we get into ions, that's not the case. So it's best just to think of number 3 as the number of protons. How do you find the number of neutrons? You take the relative atomic mass, and I say relative because it's an average of all the isotopes of the substance, and you subtract that from the number of protons, and that equals the number of neutrons. So for example, carbon has like a 12, you round it, has 12 for atomic mass. It has 6 protons, so the number of neutrons is 6. You're told that the atomic number of carbon is 6. Its atomic mass is 12. State the number of protons, neutrons, and electrons. I just did that for you. Let's go on. Topic 6, what's the difference between ionic and molecular compounds? This is really important. We should know properties that differ between these two substances. Ionic substances conduct electricity when we put them in water, whereas they do not, molecular do not conduct. Ionic are all solid at room temperature, whereas molecular could be solid, liquid, or gas. Ionic substances tend to be lustrous, whereas these tend to be dull. So have a look at page 36 to have more of that. It's a chemical formula, and give the chemical formula for water. The chemical formula for water is H2O, and it represents the number of atoms that make up the compound. So what's the total number of atoms here? 3 atoms, 2 hydrogen and 1 atom